Easiest question is, who has an unnatural affection for their toaster?
I don't think any of us here does.
I've never
Okay.
wanted to stick my dick in a toaster, so just saying.
Oh, I wish that was being recorded because that is like the best drop right there.
So I'm
All right,
so
just
glad
had
I
to check.
turned that down.
I just had to make sure it still worked.
No, that's our starting sound. You started it. We're starting. I started it.
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
No,
Hello,
there's no
and
counting.
welcome to
Just
the
start it.
Okay, you just messed me up.
It's all in, and this is it.
And he took his shoes off so he could count that high. I can't believe we had to do that.
I was counting down for myself.
Oh, okay.
But we started off on the.
I know, but we can cut this part.
We're not cutting it.
Of
No,
course we're
don't
not.
cut it. It's awesome.
Just to do the questions.
Okay. Well, obviously this turned into just randomly talking.
He'll
But
edit
welcome
it.
to the Alpha Rejects podcast. Clearly we all
Yeah.
have brains full of just that are scrambled. So, today we're going to be
Worm.
talking about saints and the Legion of the Damned.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is the Legion of the Damned? If anybody knows.
Well, I can
Depends
give
on
like
what
the
era of
Wikipedia.
lore you're talking to.
Ooh, good point.
So we'll
Yeah.
start 30K and then make our way to 40K.
So in 30K, there's that. I know there's that situation where the Big E is like at the warp gate that's on Terra, fighting off the demonic invasion, and he calls forth that fiery host. Is that like the first appearance of what would be considered the Legion of the Damned?
Everyone is considering that is, and everyone considers they know who that is.
Yep.
I don't know. I do not know who that is.
He's headless. He died first. He was a
You're talking
primarch.
about Ferris? Or you're talking about Ferris Manus?
Yes.
Or,
Okay.
All right. Well, everything that I read prior to this, the Legion of the Damned didn't actually start showing up until, like M38 or something like that. But
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Everyone's been
Well,
agreeing.
I know that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I know that during the Webway project, whenever Magnus broke through and messed everything up, while the Big E was trying to get all of his forces out of the Webway, I know that Ferris Manus, his spirit or his ghost appeared in in the Webway, and there's a bunch of other places where Ferris Manus pops up
Mm-hmm.
as essentially the not the poster child of it, but just in his flamed thinking Ghost Rider essentially look of
Right.
Ferris Manus.
Right.
So
Well, and that kind of makes sense, and especially because you're talking about a period there during the Siege of Terra where the veil between the materium and the immaterium would have been very, very thin.
yep. And he popped up quite often from what I remember reading. He popped up like three or four times during the series, closer towards the end of the Horus Heresy.
Right.
And
But
then
how does that? But how can we make a correlation to the Legion of the Damned, specifically? Where's the correlation?
Right.
Well, here, this is me personally. This is all speculation. Is that
Mhm.
he's not the quote unquote Primarch of the Legion of the Damned, but I feel like yes, he's still kind of here and there, but the writers haven't put any stories with the ghost of Ferrus Manus to being popped up with the Legion of the Damned.
All right.
Right.
So I'm just gonna put this out there. So we have a lot of proof that the essence of the Primarchs from the warp are still traveling around the material universe. You see this in the book of the Black Legion
Mhm.
when they feel they know that the spirit of Sanguinius still lurks on board the vengeful spirit.
Right.
So we know that the Primarchs were such powerful entities within the material universe that even after death, that they are still around us. So the idea that Ferrus Manus is still lurking about, unseen, possibly ethereal, is possible in the 40K setting, and
Right.
that's what I got to say about it.
So
Well,
that spirit of Sanguinius
sorry.
on the vengeful spirit, sorry, um, is that what's creating the crystal beings that appear on the vengeful spirit every once in a while and freak out uh, anyone who's on there?
This is the first time hearing about it. What?
Yeah, no, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, there's from what I understand, there's like crystalline statues of fallen space marines that appear on the vengeful spirit, and they move. I mean, they're kind of like, I don't know, the weeping angels in Doctor Who, in that no one sees them move, but like if you leave the room and you come back, they'll have moved.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, that is
Uh,
creepy.
They
But
deserve
then
it because
again, that's
vengeful
it,
spirit.
that the vengeful spirit is essentially just bathed in the warp all the time. So, I mean, it's
Right.
flowing with chaos energy. So that doesn't throw out the possibility that it's just some warp shenanigans happening. But I don't know.
Right. I mean, they might be able to get like some of that new formula Coke there still. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
going back to like what Lysander was saying about the Primarchs being so powerful. Well, it kind of that kind of theory lends credence to the minor warp gods. Uh, well, it's not really a theory, but it's that they are that their souls were kind of made from minor warp gods. So it kind of makes sense that their souls are floating somewhere in the warp.
Mhm.
So and Malkador and the Big E had said, with given enough time, they could remake the Primarchs or the fallen Primarchs.
I do remember Malkador saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have to
Well,
coax the body, the soul back into the body. I mean, Fabius Bile did that with the Fulgrim clone.
All
true,
the
yeah.
clones.
Well, he did it. He only did it with the one.
No, he did a lot
He
of
was
Primarchs.
he did a lot of Primarchs, but he never got the soul correct. He never got that down until the perfect Fulgrim clone came about. That's when he got. That's when the soul of Fulgrim actually went into that body and made
And
that
now he's
Primarch
trapped
the
in
Primarch.
by Trazine, right?
Yeah, and I think that was just a plot device essentially, just to move it forward. I hate that that the perfect Fulgrim clone is now just still locked up in Trajan's museum. And he's never gonna let that out.
Oh, why break up a set? I mean, that's what the guy's working on there.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the ultimate Pokemon master.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, but I do have a problem with this in that how can it be Fulgrim's soul if Fulgrim is also a demon prince?
Well, here again, it might be a theory, it might not be, but when the Primarchs become demons or demon princes, essentially their soul is gone from their body.
Okay.
They have the power of their chaos god. So
that's okay. Go ahead.
it would make sense that yes, their body and their like consciousness is still in their body, and they can still do whatever they want. But the soul that makes the Primarch is gone. But
Okay.
then again,
so
it's
you're saying
not been confirmed.
okay. So in your theory, just to make sure I'm understanding this, it's like we'll imagine that a being has three components: their mind, their body, and their soul. And that when they become a demon prince, the soul is either suppressed or displaced, and a chaotic influence replaces it, but it's still the same mind and body, though it's probably inevitably warped by the chaos forces in it, and so that soul has gone a wandering.
Yeah, that
Or
I agree and disagree.
okay, what do you think?
Because I think in some cases the soul is merged with a chaos entity. Like, all right, for example, in the Siege of Terra series, we see a real downfall of Horus. We'll use Horus as the first example. He is in this falls in line with your explanation of it. It's like Horus isn't there. He's out in the warp fighting the Emperor, and his body's doing something completely different
Right.
for a lot of the time. And then he gets sucked back into his body, especially when he's fighting the Emperor on the Vengeful Spirit. But a lot of the time, he's not even there. He's somewhere else, and you see that a lot, especially in the fragmentation of his mind, where he thinks he's talking to someone, but he's talking to someone completely different. Like he thought he was talking to Sir Janus at one point, but he was just talking to some new Marine that he had forgot the name of. It got really weird. Like he had like complete schizophrenia. But if we're gonna talk about another demon prince, Primarch, like Motarian's all there. I don't like he's all there. He just accepted his fate, and I think he's one of the types that are merged. I can't say much for Angron because he's just the worst character in 40K because he has
He's
like
just
absolutely
cranky.
no personality.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see what they do with Fulgrim because we're at a point with Fulgrim that we're gonna see something. Is he like what you said? His that noble spirit completely gone, or is this debauchery obsessed creature within Fulgrim? And then we know for a fact with per canon that Magnus's soul is in pieces.
Right. Yeah.
So like we have a lot of different avenues how we can look at this. We can look at the displaced soul, we could look at a merged soul, and we could look at a fractured soul, and we can look at a whole soul like with Motarian.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways we can look at this.
Right. And it'd be interesting to kind of analyze how the personality of the Primarch feeds into how they became that way. So, for example, I could see someone like Lorgar like totally embracing it because he's convinced that this is like, oh, I'm becoming one with the divine. So I think he would be all about the merge.
I
Whereas,
hope
yeah,
I hope we get Lorgar soon. Within the next 3 to 4 years. I hope we get a super chaos juiced Lorgar that just slaps the entire setting back into a new form of chaos. I'm excited for a new Lorgar because they did him dirty in the Siege of Terror, or not the Siege of Terror, but the entire Horus Heresy series.
Yeah, kind of made him into
whipping
a
boy.
punching
Little
bag.
biatch.
Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Exactly. You nailed it. He was a punching bag.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you, and I know we've gone completely off tangent from what our original topic was supposed to be, but it's interesting going through and we should discuss this in the future, looking at how each of the Primarchs represents some aspect of the Big E's personality, both the best and the worst aspects of that.
Absolutely.
Yup.
But to try and get us back on the topic of Legion of the Damned and the Imperial Demons, I really like what Lysander brought up about when they start appearing. Because you said they start showing up in records around the 38th millennium, and I was curious about how that lined up with the age of apostasy, which was primarily in the 36th millennium, and it made me curious about you don't really have a unified like imperial cult or imperial faith until after the age of apostasy. And so maybe that spiritual energy that's needed for entities like the Legion of the Damned to pop up just wasn't there until after the age of apostasy and you start having a unified imperial cult.
Maybe. So I'm doing some digging while
Uh-huh.
we've been talking, and so the primary theory behind the Legion of the Damned is the downfall of the Firehawks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the primary theory, but there's also the theory that it's not just the Firehawks; it's the souls of great Space Marines from all chapters
Right,
being brought back by the faith of the Emperor.
right.
And it's they didn't s- it's actually they didn't start popping up till closer to the 40th millennium.
Okay.
Um, I have it, but I still haven't read it because it took me a long time to find it.
Mhm.
There's a story where an Inquisitor actually captures a um Legion of the Damned Space Marine.
Mhm.
Oh
And
yeah, I'm
I
familiar with
haven't read
that
it
one.
yet, so I haven't read it yet. I've only heard about it on YouTube, but I'm gonna read it myself, and and once that happens, I will give you guys my full inquiry on that. But yeah, we don't really see the Legion of the Damned popping up until much closer to the modern setting.
Well, you just made me think of something like so what you are saying, they very well could be being juiced by the imperial faith. That kind of definitely does lead credence, because how in the world are saints made? Well, the saints of the sisterhood, or well, not sisterhood, the sororitas, they perform miracles a
Mhm.
lot, and they're
Yep.
super dedicated to their faith. So
Yeah.
that definitely does make more sense for them to pop up more because of the Imperial faith.
Yes. All
I
right. And go ahead.
I believe the Living Saints and Legion of the Damned are connected to that one entity.
Hell yes, I agree.
Which one entity?
We don't know.
The Emperor.
We Emperor, I
No,
guess.
the Emperor.
We don't know what he
Okay,
is. We don't know why he's doing this, but it's all about faith.
All right.
Right.
So this
Which
goes back.
is sort of like it. I mean, there are some similarities between the miracles of faith and warp powers, but for example, the miracles of faith still work around pylons, the Blackstone pylons, sort of, but they're kind of weakened. It's almost like a radio interference or something.
Yes.
Right.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like why Celestine didn't wink out of existence when she was on Cadia.
And the sisters last so longer against the Necrons on what's the newest campaign for it again called?
Pariah Nexus.
Yeah.
All right.
So you
All
have
right.
to play that.
All right. So okay, I'm just gonna throw this theory out here.
Sure.
So after the Age of Apostasy, that Pius pointed out, we get a more conducive faith, right?
Yes.
Right.
And that faith juices up the Emperor because the warp is emotion.
Right.
It in all of its forms, hate, love, pleasure, well, whatever it is, it's emotions, and humans are one of the creatures throughout the 40K setting that produce more emotion than almost any other creature in the 40K setting. All right,
Except the Eldar, who repressed theirs because of what they did last time.
he's so excited.
So
I
excited.
am excited. I'm so happy to be with you guys again. Yep.
All right, so we got that nailed down. The faith gets stronger in the Emperor,
Yes.
and then the Cicatrix Maledictum seriously woke up the Emperor. Like before the Cicatrix Maledictum, we still had saints, especially
Right.
Sororitas saints, popping up like every couple thousand years, from Sabbat to Saint Catherine, which was like what the 3500s, or excuse me, 35,000.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as the Cicatrix Maledictum happens, and that like provided a lot of warp juice for the Emperor to
Mhm.
wake up anymore, we're seeing so many more miracles throughout the 40K setting. Like it's nuts. Celestine's popping up everywhere. If you read the Shroud of Night, Celestine goes ham before she gets slapped by Karn, which was kind of funny, by the way. No offense to the
Mhm.
Sororitas guys in the room. But and then even when the Big E torches Nurgle's garden in the Plague Wars books through Gilliman, like, I think there's a lot to it. I think it all revolves around the Big E and why we're
Uh-huh.
seeing more miracles since the Cicatrix Maledictum, and I think that it corresponds with the Big E having more power to exude through his followers, especially the faithful,
Uh-huh.
that provide him with that emotional energy through the warp. Because as far as I'm concerned, Black Templars and Sororitas are the most hardcore
Right.
into the faith, and I don't really see the Black Templars performing miracles, but
They're
there's a
too
lot of
egotistical.
there's a lot of motion there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they're blinded by their age. But I think once again, and I don't mean this to always become like a Dan Abnett is the king podcast, but I think what you've described is portrayed very well in the Gaunt's Ghost series, particularly in the evolution of how Gaunt sees these miracles and stuff happens, because early on in the books they're very hard bitten, very cynical.
Oh yeah, he refuses to believe it at first.
Yeah, but
He
then
refuses.
just the evidence keeps piling up, and then you have Milo who goes off with the saint.
The reincarnated
stuff.
Saint Sabbat.
Yep. And they all of the little minor characters are like, maybe there really is something to this. And there's that idea of faith precedes the miracle. But once those things start happening, you can't deny, or one cannot deny what is happening. And it snowballs. And it's the exact same thing with like how chaos gains power is, you can't, in the stories, chaos cannot just show up and overwhelm a world instantly in most cases, but it gets infiltrated with a small cult that does little things, but that starts to build the power and the emotion that's needed, and then bigger and bigger things can happen. So why wouldn't it be the same with these miracles for the uh, saints of man? So
I agree
I
with
love
that
it. I love it.
because there's more than one living saint.
Yes, and some of them just pop up.
right.
And some of them are
Oh,
Imperial Guard.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The solar Macarius, does he become a living saint?
I don't want him to be.
Oh, Macarius got infested by Nurgle, dude. No.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. Then they kept it hush hush, and then they had to assassinate him.
Yes.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, Macarius is bad at. He was the best general of the entire crusade. He conquered more worlds than any of the frickin' Primarchs.
Right.
He got.
And he was supposed to be a legitimately good. I mean,
He
you have
was.
to make sacrifices as a general, but he was genuinely a good guy.
Then he felt he got corrupted, and they secretly assassinated him and kept it hush hush and kept him a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
See,
it's a
but
super
that's
sad
real.
story, dude.
That is awful. But if you think about the nature of how the faith works, could it be possible that he pops up as a saint through the faith? Like it's the pre-corruption or a purified version
Well,
of him.
well, maybe through the the Legion of the Damned. Maybe it's not. Maybe the Legion of the Damned
Oh,
doesn't just have Marines. Maybe they have like a supplementary force behind it that we haven't seen yet. I mean, this
that would be cool.
we're going into the weeds with conjecture, but
Oh yeah.
The
not
problem
trying to
is
like.
not a lot of information.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what makes it fun. We can make crap up. I mean, sorry, we can explore theories.
We can say crap. Crap's fine.
I don't. Yeah.
No, I was talking more about the fact of making stuff up as opposed to theories.
Yeah.
Crap.
Well,
Theory.
you would
Same
get
thing.
crucified.
All right. My sororitas expert spy. All right. My question is because I just don't know, and I want you to clarify it for me. So we have living saints and we have dead saints, but when a dead saint is reincarnated, is it considered a living saint, or is it just a saint come back? Like,
I
is
would
there?
And
think
we want to know
it's more of a miracle than anything else that they believe in. I mean, I personally haven't read too much like examples where a saint comes back to life. I mean, in Morganval, Spirit Faith, they have a saint essentially materialize,
Yes.
and it's so like I would think that it's more of a miracle and that the saint is back. I mean, I would yeah, they would probably be they are it's a miracle and they are a now living saint.
Okay.
So
I agree with
I mean,
Spy.
And
they when a saint is dead, I mean, they'll keep the skull essentially a uh, as a holy relic. Um, I mean, the uh, oh gosh, what's it called? The Saint Catherine's thing. That is essentially just a dead saint, but they don't consider it a dead saint. They just consider it a saint. So I
Right.
don't know.
Okay, so Pius knows this too because you guys need to read God's Ghost. I
Oh,
I've read
baby.
I've read both Caiaphas Cain all the way through, and I've read God's Ghost all the way through now.
Mhm.
Gone. Okay, Caiaphas Cain is they're fun, but they don't have like a overarching effect on the entire setting.
Right.
Gaunt's Ghost does. Like there's a huge effect on the entire setting on Gaunt's Ghost. But in the Gaunt's Ghosts, a little for lack of a better word, an acolyte of the Imperial cult. I forgot what they're called. I think they're called the Ayatarni.
Mhm.
Um, so they're on the home world of Saint Sabat, right?
Right.
And she's a dead saint. She died like in I think like 36K,
Mhm.
and they're literally protecting her bones, right? And a miracle happens and they actually prevail against chaos. And then you find out later that the saint actually possessed the body of this little
Little
ecclesiarchy
girl.
acolyte, and
Yeah.
she becomes the living saint. Her body gets possessed and becomes the vessel for her to come back to life and lead or help lead the Imperial forces in the Sabbat Crusade.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
it's
freaking
not an
amazing.
instantaneous thing. It's a slow thing,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
very cool.
Throughout
Yeah.
like 3 books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like and like you don't know what's happening until it happens. Like you get these hints as the books progress, and
Yeah.
because like Gaunt runs into this old sororitas sister who's like way too old, but it turns out to be a phantom. And because
Are you
he
talking about
goes
in the ghost chapel?
yes,
Yeah, that is such a
yeah,
great scene.
it's such and then he goes back and tries to find this old lady, and then because he had reported this incident to his boss, and his boss did some research. Well, that lady you're talking about, she died like 2,000 years ago. And
Right.
Gaunt is just like, what the f? And then it goes on, and like the the old lady told Gaunt that he needed to go to this world, like him
Yeah.
and the boy needs to go to this world, and you find out later that the boy they're referring to is Milo.
Mhm.
And it's just a fantastic story. You guys, you can get a cheap copy of the Gaunt's Ghost novels on eBay, like the paperbacks. Can't go for the hardbacks. The hardbacks are disturbingly expensive, but
Mhm.
you guys need to go after it. It is such a neat. It's probably my favorite series. It's Band of Brothers in Space. It's Sharp's Rifles. In fact, Dan Abnett said he based um Gaunt off of Sharp.
Oh yeah, you can see it all the time. But that particular scene is very interesting because it's also you see a lot of different influences in Dan Abnett's writing. Like you said, Sharp's Rifles, Band of Brothers, that the historical stuff, like in his other work, Double Eagle, it's like this is the Battle of Britain in space, that the whole thing. That particular story of the haunted chapel is very Victorian ghost story in the way it's done. Um,
Oh
and it's
yeah,
very cool. It's
that
really really neat.
that is a fantastic illusion. That is a That is great, Pius. I never thought of that until just
Oh,
now.
thank you. Yeah. It just goes to show how that Dan, well, okay, once again, this is not the Praise Dan Abnett podcast, but the ability to work with all those different genres effectively shows that he is very well read in his own background. So,
Absolutely. And to get back to Saints and the Legion of the Damned, I think ADB is actually the foremost writer for the Legion of the Damned, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
the uninitiated ADB,
Uh, Aaron Dembski Bowden.
thank you.
What? Oh, good. That was a good banter, and for some reason, my connection is much better.
It was
It's
faith.
the influence
It
of
was
the
all because
Saints.
of faith.
Yeah, faith,
The faith.
Yeah.
absolutely. Faith.
Uh,
I like it because this is inevitably whenever we're reading good books, books that we enjoy, it's because we see a little something of ourselves in it or who we would like to be.
Yeah.
And I don't shy away from the fact that in IRL, I am a person who tries to live a faithful life. And so anytime that I see the power of faith being used positively, it it makes me very happy. Now I know that the original creators of Warhammer 40K, we're talking about 20-year-old guys in Britain in the 80s, and so their view on faith would have been inherent, just socially would have been very negative, and you can see that particularly in early 40K.
Well, just
Um,
look at it. Look at the way they built the Imperium.
yeah, and
And
it makes sense.
like like the Imperium is a jacked up organization, like
Yeah.
completely festering from within with religious dogma and this complete inability to move on.
Mhm. And if you look at a lot of the other media culture coming out of that generation, that region, you've got things like Judge Dredd, um, that is the same type of super dystopia
Yeah.
that reflected their worldview.
All right. That was a good banter. Spy, you're the leader tonight. Um, what can we go into next in terms of where we want to carry this conversation through with Saints? I think we have more um information about Saints than we do the Legion of the Damned, so we could probably lean into that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. So, like, I know, we know more about Saints, and there are more books about Saints than the Legion of the Damned, obviously. Like,
There's a background noise, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Probably me.
someone's talking around Pius.
All right, let me. I'm going to go off mic except when I have something useful to say.
Okay. Bye. Hello. You sure that's a good idea, Pius?
now we just see a speaker.
Yeah, we just see a speaker.
Don't make me cry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
Try this.
I mean, I'm having a squirrel moment. I swear to God.
What do you want to squirrel to?
Just
That's that's the best part of our podcast is our squirrels actually bring a lot of juice to this podcast, and it actually makes it the most fun to listen to most of the time.
I think so. It gives us a chance to follow our passions and our interests and to be really crazy. So share your squirrel, friend. Share your squirrel.
all right. Well, Saint Celestine. She's the most well-known saint.
Yes.
And has anybody actually read her book?
I have
Here.
not yet.
The only thing I've
have not.
read that involved her is the Shroud of Night.
And she got slapped. She got the crap beat out of her by Karn.
Yeah.
Oh my lord! Y'all need to read
Y'all
or
need
listen
Jesus.
to the Celestine book, because everybody thinks, oh, she just magically comes back.
No.
No, she doesn't. So
Just to fight her
essentially,
way back, doesn't she?
Yes.
she does. She is essentially in a pocket dimension of the warp where she is constantly being chased by demons. She has
Okay.
no idea who she is, where she came from, and she always does not have her armor. She has to find her armor piecemeal by
And
piecemeal, and it's always either on a corpse or just broken, damaged, and she has to put it on. And then as soon as she puts it on, it instantly gets repaired, and any jagged cuts or uh, jagged edges on the armor disappears, and
Hmm.
like nothing ever happened to her. But she slowly gets her memory back as she's going through.
is her memories associated with her armor? Like, does she get a little piece of?
Well, not even that. She still like has no idea who she is during the entire part of her resurrection. She has no idea who she is. There are actually two. It's either two or three. I want to say it's two. There's two essentially consciousnesses, or however you want to say that she has to either help or at one point fight, defeat, and then that consciousness says, "Okay, I'm going to help you." Essentially, like a D&D campaign. And once
Right.
she's able to escape, she gets her memory back, essentially, or gets her full personality back.
Okay.
And it's a really good book. I highly recommend it.
I'll put it on my list.
It is Saint Celestine, the Living Saint.
Right. I think the only thing that's
Hello?
Somebody's gonna say something.
Who?
I was going to say, yeah, who wrote it?
Let me look, because I
Sorry.
have it in. I listened to it in Audible because I haven't been able to actually get my hands on the actual paperback or hardback. I want to get a hardback, but I doubt I'll ever find one. It is Andy Clark.
Oh, he's a good
Andy
writer.
Clark. Yeah, he's good. I think the only thing that's made me shy about it is the constant shipping of Celestine and Greyfax.
What about Greyfax? Is that are they
Yeah.
constant? Are they very connected? Oh, thank you. Courtney just brought me another White Claw.
Lol.
So this is the reason you're keeping her around. That's a good woman. There you go.
Oh, dude, she's the absolute best, dude. Like, she makes me dinner and breakfast every time I go to work. It's already packed in the fridge, and as soon as I wake up and need to go,
Wow.
it's all there. I'm the most spoiled man alive.
I'm so happy for you. That's awesome.
Oh, she's great.
Well, I'm cutting this part. Too wholesome.
Oh, because
So, with the whole shipping thing, I don't understand. Is she faithful after the whole ordeal, yes.
And in actual text, Greyfax is always very nervous around Celestine and
Yes.
thinks that she may be a witch.
Yes.
And I think it's a combination of also. Okay, here we go on another tangent, but the English language is terrible when it comes to certain words. For example, our word love, and apparently there's a number of situations where Celestine is like doing her powers and stuff, and Greyfax describes this feeling, this overwhelming feeling of love. There's all sorts of different types of love. Okay, there's the love that a guy can feel towards a woman who packs his lunch and dinner and brings him a White Claw while he's streaming with his nerds friends, right?
Too
And then
wholesome,
there's the
cutting this
love that one
part.
feels. Well, I'm sorry, what?
Too wholesome, cutting this part.
Yeah. And then there's sometimes, and then there's that love from, uh, you love your favorite baseball team, or you really love cheeseburgers or whatever. And we keep using the same word, but we're describing very different emotions. And so, there it could be this love, especially since probably Greyfax, like 99% of the population of the 40K universe had a terrible childhood. She finally feels appreciated and safe, and that this being genuinely cares about her as a person, and it would describe that as love, but it doesn't necessarily mean romantic amorous love. It just means like love. Does that make sense?
Deep feeling, deep affection, yada yada yada. Yes.
Yeah. But because of
Ow.
Rule 34?
Oh, don't even get me started on that nonsense. I had to
Okay.
look that up the other day.
Oh
All right.
God.
We'll just leave it at that. Because of Rule 34, some people have just taken it too far. And I
You
just
think?
really hope it doesn't become that.
No, it's too late. It's already that.
I know.
But my question was, at the end of the whole adventure, did she become religious after all their
Oh,
ordeal?
Greyfax?
Yeah. Or she still consider her a witch and go like, she's a demon, we need to take care of her.
Yeah,
What?
like how does the Inquisition approach saints?
They don't trust them unless they're part of the ecclesiarchy.
Yeah.
And that makes sense considering everything that they've seen. Honestly, that stress, that anxiety makes sense.
I totally get it, but it seems like a lot of the Inquisition isn't even religious at all. Like they just look for the bad things in the universe and torch them.
Yeah, because they're so jaded. Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, like going back to like Geronimo saying like, how do they look at them? It's very prevalent in Celestine book, especially there's a ecclesiarchy leader who sees Celestine as a witch and
Mm.
as a false prophet.
Huh.
Hmm.
I won't spoil anything for y'all.
But my guess is he's not a very good ecclesiastical leader.
Oh, it
That's just a guess.
no, it gets revealed what his true motivations are later on in the book.
Well, we've seen the ecclesiarchy be infiltrated by chaos so many times. Like, have any of you guys read about the Abysmal
I've heard about
Crusade?
it. I don't know all the details, but I know the main details.
So, the Abysmal Crusade, there's this prophet, so-called prophet in the ecclesiarchy, that says all these Space Marine chapters are lacking in faith and they need to go on a crusade. So they launch like I want to say like 25 entire Space Marine chapters
30.
Yes.
into the Eye of oh, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about then.
Yes.
I know. I pulled up the wiki article.
Oh, they launch them and they tell them go tear some stuff up inside the Eye of Terror, and then all but like two fall to chaos, and they come back, and then the couple that do come back without being completely tainted, well, they find out that that prophet was actually corrupted by chaos and did this on purpose to bolster the ranks of the
Yes.
Space Marines in the Eye of Terror. It was absolutely atrocious, and a lot of your cooler war bands in Chaos actually come from the Abysmal Crusade. And
Oh
like
man,
we've seen the ecclesiarchy infiltrated by Chaos a lot. I wouldn't say more often than not, but a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have some asshole who doesn't want to see Celestine for what she is not is it's not surprising.
right.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh man, and that's such a shame because I'm looking through the list of these chapters that were lost, and I'm like, these are some really cool sounding chapters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I
like there is Imperial Fist um chapters that fell to chaos, and so like all these chapters that said, "Oh, no one has ever no one from the Sons of Dorn or the Sons of Gilliman have ever fallen to chaos." I'm like, no, you be quiet. Look at the Abysmal
No.
Crusade. There was a couple Ultramarine chapters that fell to chaos inside the Aya Terror. There's a couple Imperial Fist successor chapters that fell to chaos.
Mhm.
Like no one's impervious, and like even in there's a lot of space wolves that have fallen to chaos. It's crazy, man. Like there's this
Yeah.
entire it's nuts.
You think that that's because of uh, the weakness in their gene seed that keeps them from being able to have successor chapters? Like maybe they're just twitchy on the edge all the time.
No.
Uh, I don't know. So everyone's like, well, oh, most Space Marine cha- uh chapters in the modern era are Ultramarine, but that stems back to the heresy. Which chapter was actually intact at the end of the heresy? It was the Ultramarines. They were the only ones completely unscathed, or mostly unscathed, and that was why most successor chapters of Space Marines are Ultramarine. That's
Right,
a
but
simple thing.
I'm saying with the Space Wolves, when they've tried to make successor chapters, they all fall to the Lycan curse.
They all
Oh,
become
Uh,
wolven.
Yes.
Wolf brothers.
yeah. Well, we're seeing a lot more, at least in recent Black Library writing. We're seeing a lot more
Mhm.
Space Marine, or excuse me, Space Wolf successor chapters. A lot of that has to deal with the bolstering from Primaris. But
Oh, okay.
there, I think there's this the spear, the spears of the wolves. That's one that just comes off of the top of my head.
I believe that was the
Sure.
first chapter
Um,
that was set up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So maybe the Primaris process they were able to cleanse out that genetic weakness.
We can only wait and see.
well, yeah, I think
Oh,
we'll have to wait and see because we thought the Primaris, they initially thought the Primaris would clean the Blood Angels,
uh-huh.
but it just made them less susceptible. So you're probably going to see just less Wolven, but it's not going to
But
be
they'll be
completely
bigger,
cleansed.
which is, great. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, like even my boy Gabriel Seth, he found out later that the Black Rage and the Red Thirst still prevails just
right.
at a lower amount in the Blood Angels. So the Primaris
Right.
isn't a ultimate cure
Right.
for anything, but you're
Maybe,
gonna.
maybe holds it
I think
off a
there's
little
like
longer.
I think there's like 5. Just off the top of my head, there's 5 Space Wolf successor chapters that have actually been written about. But
Uh-huh.
in Huron Blackheart, that book is freaking awesome, and it's a really quick read.
Yeah.
There's entire Space Wolf successor chapter that is completely fallen to chaos that works with Huron in that book.
With the Red Corsairs, right?
Yes, and you got
Yeah.
to remember the Red Corsairs are a conglomerate.
Right. They're more of a faction, almost more of a faction than anything else.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. There's a lot of like Black Legion guys are like, yeah, screw Abaddon, we're gonna go work for um Huron.
Mhm.
Because Huron's chapter was basically almost completely destroyed
Mhm.
after what are the Babdab
That war.
wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's
So
really interesting.
that was my squirrel.
Uh, that's okay. And I also here I go. Sorry, getting literary again. But you've got the Space Wolves who are really quite feral, and but they're often portrayed as having, even though we see examples of it not being true, but despite this feral wildness, they have a resistance to chaos. And I wonder if that's some sort of homage to
The noble savage.
like the noble savage, yeah, like from Conan, Robert E. Howard's Conan, that it is the decadence that would let people fall into the darkness, whereas the savage who was in touch with themselves and in touch with the wilderness was better able to resist.
Yeah, well, look at okay, it's going to be a little off topic, but look at the Exodites from the
Uh-huh.
Eldar.
Hmm.
They were far more, I wouldn't say feral, but I would say more in tune with nature and
Yeah.
their base being than say the other craft, not the craft worlds, but the oh, what were the ones that all just pretty much got zapped out of existence? They actually had home worlds, but the ones on the craft worlds were able to
The
survive, and the
prone
ones that
worlds.
prone worlds, thank you,
Yeah.
they were all zapped out of existence. And if you weren't on a craft world or an Exodite or inside the webway with all the Drukari, you were annihilated and eaten by Slanesh.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting how you've got those three general paths of resistance for the Eldar to keep from getting consumed by Slanesh. You've got the base Eldar who, are super almost monastic in many ways. And then you've got Drukari who are so angst ridden, even Slanesh doesn't want anything to do with them. And um,
She'll still
and
eat
you've
them.
got,
Yep.
oh yeah, of course, they're like Doritos, crunch all you want, we'll make more. But but then you got, like you said, the Exodites who find their purity by going back to nature. It's all different approaches to overcoming that inner darkness.
Yeah. All right. We need to circle back around. We need to tie this back
Sorry.
into Saints. Oh, I'm guilty of it too, dude. Geronimo?
Okay,
Um, I,
I have a tiny squirrel. I have a tiny squirrel. Sorry, tiny squirrel. Uh, so tangentially related to saints, the idea of positive warp entities. Okay,
We know they exist.
they exist. So how do the Watchers in the Dark relate to this?
Ooh.
I
I don't
would
know,
not
man.
consider them same as Living Saints or Legion of Damned.
But
They are
I
something different.
they're
Right.
almost I'd almost put them in the same category as blanks and nulls.
Mm-hmm.
Except they're warp entities. The only
Yeah,
difference.
yeah,
Yep.
but
But they're
it's like
seemingly positive.
Yes.
yeah, like they. I can't wait. I think we've already started doing our book club thing for the Lion, but if it wasn't for the Watchers in the Dark, I don't think the Lion would have survived into the modern millennia.
No, he wouldn't have, because they're the ones that put him into quote unquote stasis
Right.
and kept him asleep for 10,000 years.
Yeah, they saved him. So
I
I
mean,
would
even though
love
he was on the rock in a secret spot on the rock for 10,000 years.
we don't know that. We don't know that. That was all speculation.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't know that because like look, where did he wake up on? He woke up on some random frickin' planet on the wrong side of the Cicatrix Maledictum.
Right.
No, he didn't wake up on a random planet. He woke up in the forest.
He woke up,
He
Mhm.
w-
he woke up in the forest walking,
in his
it's,
forest walking realm.
yeah,
Right.
which seems like a sub. Okay, correct me
A
if I'm
little
wrong. You got,
pocket of the warp
thank
that
you.
It's
is
essentially
positive.
that's exactly what it is.
It's almost like imagine he is crafted. It's a spiritual webway, almost,
That
that has been
Oh,
crafted.
but
that's exactly what it is, because he's able to interact, pull people into the forest,
and bring him out with him.
bring them out with them, and so spoilers,
Go
Pius, you
ahead.
might want to cover your ears.
Nah, I'm okay.
The four chaos gods and the emperor are able to go into that forest realm,
Hmm.
because there's 2 times it is mentioned, and not specifically, but it is essentially
Alluded to.
alluded to, that the shadows are the 4 chaos gods and the old king is the emperor.
Yes.
And that makes sense. Symbolically, that makes sense.
Well,
And the
Are the
emperor is able to manipulate that forest realm
Mhm.
because he's left the sword for the lion to find, and he
the
left his
shield.
shield.
Yeah, the shield
Mhm.
was in the forest realm, and the sword was inside that chaos controlled fortress on the planet.
Actually, it wasn't. It was actually still in the forest realm.
Oh, because he
He
went through the
forest walked.
door. He went through that door when he was trying to get away because he didn't have
Yep.
any weapons. And yeah, you're exactly right.
And he pulled it from the stone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
A
He pulls
Thurian.
a sword from the stone.
Oh,
That's
dude,
It's
hilarious.
dude,
That
it
is
was
so awesome.
dude, it was completely a Thurian. The lion's entire uh they set up
shtick.
the lion to be very Arthurian from the
Right.
get go.
Right.
Just like how they based Gilliman
On the Romans.
off the Romans. They based the
Right.
lion off of being Arthurian.
Right.
Oh, they also based Engron semi on the Romans as well.
Spartacus.
Well, yeah, on Sparta.
Spartacus. Well, specifically on Spartacus leading the
Yep,
rebellion of the
Yeah.
of
slaves.
the gladiators.
Okay, here's a quick question then. In that entire narrative of the forest, does are the Watchers there in any form?
Yes.
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 Okay.
They pop up multiple times
Oh, and
telling the lion
okay.
stuff. I won't say what.
So and okay, it's Arthurian. They're the Fae.
Yeah,
Now that makes
Yeah,
exactly.
pretty
sense.
much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. That makes sense. Okay,
It
cool.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool. My theory on the forest is the emperor made that pocket of the warp for the lion. That's just my personal theory,
Mhm.
and that's what allowed the lion. And I think we're gonna see in the next lion book we get. I think he's gonna come to that existential crisis that Gilliman went through at the end of the Plague War books, where well maybe the emperor has transcended to a god.
Oh, are you talking about when he starts reading Lorgar's book?
Not just that,
No.
but like when the emperor literally possessed Gilliman's body inside
Right.
Nurgle's garden and then set it on fire.
Mhm.
I think I think the lion is gonna also have that existential crisis of faith because he's a non-believer. Oh, my father's not a god.
And he's
Right.
made it very clear.
I'm on board with you 100%. I think the emperor did transcend to a god at the end of the heresy. I am
Right.
100% on board.
Or another possibility is that a god has taken the form of the emperor.
Don't mind blow me like that, bruh.
You know, just that possibility that something has latched on to that adoration, that worship, and so is using that form.
All right, who here finished End of the Death Volume 3?
No one.
Nah.
I really?
Sorry, man.
I don't got enough
God, you
bucks
guys,
for books.
dude, I'm well, we all know I'm like the absolute addict for the books.
Yes.
Um there's a point in End of Death Volume 3 where I'm going to spoil it for you. You guys just need to catch up.
Go ahead. I'll live
Uh,
with it. I don't mind.
We've known this
so
for like 20 years.
the Astronomicon uh is out, right? And they can't turn it back on.
Right.
And Euphrates Keeler has led all of her followers to the Astronomicon, and the Dark Angels have crash landed there. Like a small contingent of Dark Angels have crash landed there. Cor Swain is freaking defending the Astronomicon. They took it back from the Death Guard, and they're trying to turn it on, and they can't turn it on, and they can't turn it on. And Euphrates Keeler gets her million followers that have like flooded into an
That's right. They do
Astronomicon,
like a ceremony or a prayer or
a
something.
prayer, and they just all start praying at the same time, and then it sparks, and then it turns on,
Yep.
and then Gilliman's able to see it, and it was at that point I was like, "Yep, that mother licker's a god," because he was able. He was like he got enough prayer and enough emotion, positive
Mhm.
emotion, not just
Yep.
any kind of emotion, positive emotion towards the emperor, and then boom, that thing was lit, and here comes the Ultramarines in to clean up the mess.
Yeah. And that makes sense because a lot of, that question about why aren't there positive, gods in the warp. And Luton has a good explanation talking about how most positive human emotions are fragile, they're ephemeral.
Yes, and
And
anger,
so it's
anger
harder
and
for them to
hate are
coalesce.
easy.
Yes. And so it's so much harder for it to coalesce. But when it does, it is mighty.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So,
Well,
Well, here's the thing. So all four chaos gods,
yeah,
they have a light side and a dark side.
true.
The positive emotions and then the negative emotions.
Yes.
So guaranteed there is the positive warp gods in the warp that are being overshadowed by the 4 chaos gods.
Yes,
Yes.
that makes
So,
sense.
We'll
You
say,
know, just
okay,
like the other side of corn is honor and courage and bravery,
yes,
yep.
right?
yes. And then Slanesh, pleasure,
Love,
perfection, love.
yeah.
And then Zinch,
Striving towards better, yeah.
yes,
Zinch is
and
creativity and learning and
yes, and Nurgle, rebirth, growth.
right, patience,
Hey, oh, expect, yeah, for sure.
yeah, and
Um,
also compassion.
yes, Nurgle is without a doubt the most compassionate of the Chaos Gods, in my
He's the
opinion.
only chaos god that actually loves his followers.
Yep.
Yep. If I,
Oh, that was awesome. That in stereo. That was awesome. Good job, guys.
uh, but just for me, if I had to follow any Chaos God, it
Yeah,
would be Corn, purely because he's a
sure.
no nonsense type of god.
Yeah.
He's either do your job or you're fired.
Yep. I'm glad that I'm with you on that same boat. I don't want to be stinky all day long.
I don't want to be
That's
stinky.
true.
I don't want to turn into a flesh puppet, and I don't
Right,
want to be turned into some crazy pawn in some scheme.
right. Although, could I have a slight? I totally understand the corn thing. I would like to be just a specific caveat of that. I would want to be part of that orc war band that impressed Corn, and they just are in perpetual battle because they're the happiest beings in the 40K universe.
Oh yeah, on when they got trapped on that planet in the Eye of Terror, and they just
Yeah,
and they just get reincarnated every day and refight. It's like
yeah,
Valhalla to them.
yeah, and Corn's like, I love these guys. It's just
But
like
they're worshippers of Gork and Mork,
Gork and
and
Mork. Yeah,
Gork and Mork are absolutely real.
yeah.
After I read Gazgul,
Mhm.
yeah, Gork and Mork are 100% real in that setting.
Yeah. We need more books from the perspective of the orcs because their minds are so fun to see the universe through.
Well,
It's
every single one
such
of
a
their books
relief.
they have written has been a hit.
Yeah,
Every
it's because they're
single orc book
fun.
is been a hit because they're fun. They're
Yeah,
so fun. Brutal Cunning
absolutely.
and the Gazgul
Oh,
book. Give me a
uh-huh.
break, dude. Give me a
Yeah,
break. It's freaking great.
it's
All
just
right,
fun. It's
all right.
sorry,
So we need to tie this back into Living Saints
Living
or
Saint.
just Saints at all. But we got into the warp, right?
Okay, okay, all right. Is Gaskell a living saint of Gork and Mork?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
So-
absolutely, absolutely. He's 100% a prophet. He's a prophet.
yeah, why
That's
not?
He's
exactly what he is.
Mhm.
um. So we've talked about the power of the faith within the 40K universe and what it can do. Like it ignited the Astronomicon in a time of need, and it's brought. And in the modern setting, it has brought back important people, or it allowed normal humans like
Mhm,
strong faith sororitas
mhm. Or Milo.
to meet, or Milo, or to wield a small essence of power of the emperor to defeat their foes, and we've seen it time and time again. And I know we kind of changed the title of this podcast. We were originally going to call it like Imperial Demons, but we've turned it, we just concentrated on the saints because they're a quote unquote imperial demon. But after talking about all this, maybe we need to come up with a new term. If we don't already have one, just call them a saint for these entities that have produced these victories and these really cool scenes within the 40K setting in the Black Library for these. I don't like the term Imperial Demon. I personally don't like it.
And I doubt the
Well, and I don't-
ecclesiarchy and, you know, the one part of the Inquisition and part of the ecclesiarchy would like that.
No,
I-
it's we need to come up with a different term. We need, like when people say, "Oh, I have some vegan hamburger." I'm like, "No.
No.
No.
You got
You
bean
need
mush.
you need to come up with a new sound that comes out of your mouth that means that shit, all right? Need
That's
something
fair.
a new word. So
No,
we
okay.
need to
I think you're absolutely right because important characteristics of these Imperial Saints is that they, as you touched on, they are from the common people. They infuriate and confuse the mighty and powerful of the Imperium. They save the regular folks over and over again. And that's a big thing that's
I 100% agree. Like so and a lot of these saints, especially the sororitas saints, they upset the pillars of power within the ecclesiarchy and the imperium itself,
right.
because not only do they provide proof of the emperor's divinity in flesh, blood, and action,
Right.
they provide, oh, what's the word?
Word is word.
The word is the word. The
They
word is
give
the
they
bird.
give connection to the emperor
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that faith
Connection.
without intercession of the ecclesiarchy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Like they provide that.
Right.
It's God, this is such a cool setting. I'm so glad 40K
It's
exists.
getting so much better. Oh my gosh. It is getting better all the freaking time. I have enjoyed its growth so much.
And
Like-
it's only going to get better because of the newest reveals and what's going to be coming out, especially the new book that I know Lysander is very, very excited about.
Which one's
Pandemonium.
that? Oh, Pandemonium. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And the new Horus Heresy book.
oh, dude, I can't wait for that.
Is that the short story collection?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah, I
I'm
like
so
short story
excited for that.
collections.
I'm gonna try to get the special edition, but I
Luck
bear
with that, mate.
yeah. Well, I didn't. I got really lucky this past week. I did get the infantryman's manual that sold out in 10 seconds on the
Wait, they made a
website.
new
I was
one?
able to get it from a local store.
Is that different
Yeah.
than the uplifting
Damn.
primer?
It's what it
What?
is, but it has
okay.
Krieg stories in it.
Oh,
So
buddy.
that's what that is. I saw that at my game store. I was like, "What the heck is that?"
Dude, I have it posted in our chat within the
Oh yeah, I
podcast
saw your
player.
Krieg box, so you got it.
And I
Awesome.
got that Imperial Infantryman's uplifting primer.
Okay, this my only question, and I think this should be the final question. Is with that Imperial Guardsman's uplifting primer, are the pages edible and provide nutritional value?
No.
No,
Because
mine doesn't.
that's
for
how
sure.
you know the true uplifting primer is that the
No.
pages are edible.
No, you can't mess with the uplifting primer. You'll get shot for that.
Yeah, there's literally pages in it that say if this page is defaced, you will face death.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. See, that's another great place where having that sense of humor is awesome. People expect that, and it brings it back to the idea that the whole universe was created as a parody, and
It
there's
is a
nothing
parody.
wrong with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a parody, and I fucking can't stand how uh a lot of human beings on social media try to label 40K as being something it's not,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, dude, it's parody. And there's a lot of cool stories and a lot of there's a lot of, like, I swear to God, there's been a lot of lessons I've learned from some of the Dan Abnett books. Back to your
Yeah.
Dan Abnett obsession.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
he is for me, Graham McNeil, Dan Abnett, ADB. Uh, I'm back and forth on it with Guy Haley, but
Mhm.
the last Guy Haley book I read was no, not Guy Haley, but Gav Thorpe. Gav,
Mm,
last Gav Thorpe
mm,
book I read, I was trash. But
yeah.
Which one was that?
I think Gav Thorpe is the guy that they tag to write books about something that they need to have something for, and he does his best to make it
Right.
interesting. He's just the guy that they like. All right, Gav, we need a book about this guy. We don't know how to do it. Can you figure it out?
Yeah. But he's one of the original dudes, from back in
He
the
has some
day.
fantastic, but he does have really good books.
Right, right.
He
I'm just saying
does.
that I can understand because why they go to him because he's one of the old school guys. Yeah,
Yeah. And
that makes sense.
I did get my special edition of Interceptor City.
Mm.
But it was
Is that
damaged.
the new crime
Oh,
novel?
No, Interceptor City is the sequel to Double Eagle.
Oh, okay.
I got and it came in this massive box set, right? And it came with a
Right.
map, an Imperial seal,
Uh,
another tiny book with some supplementary content, but it
mhm.
was damaged. So I
Oh,
emailed um, Games Workshop about it, and they're sending me another one.
nice.
oh, good, 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 good.
That's a shame
And
about the book, though.
um, and Pious,
Yeah.
if they send me the just the box, I'm gonna keep the rest of it. But if they give me a whole new box set,
Mhm.
I'll I will send you the damage set just so you have it.
Oh no, no, give it to Geronimo.
Are you a Dan Abnett nerd,
I'm
Geronimo?
any book kind of nerd. I like reading about the Astra Militarum and, Imperial Guard.
Yeah. No, that's
Oh,
really awesome, Lysander. But Geronimo's the one who brought us all together. So
you got it then.
give it to him, please.
I'm gonna sell it on eBay.
Okay,
You
if you do
better
that, I'll
you
come.
better
I'll drive
not,
over. I'll drive
'cause
across the state and kick you in the junk.
well, you guys are both in Wyoming, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But and you guys don't live far apart.
All right. Well,
We
to bring
gotta
it back
come
to
down.
the Living Saints and
This
the
episode has been brought to you by Corpse Starch. Remember, Corpse
no,
Starch is
no,
not only
no,
good for you.
no, no. I don't like cannibals. Hate them.
Not only is Corpse Starch your neighbor's favorite food, it's
Okay, I
also
changed
your
my mind. I'll
neighbor's.
take them to the middle of the desert and just get rid of them. We're seeking another
Uh,
fourth member, preferably short.
There you go. This
oh,
episode brought to you by the Leagues of Votan. So-
dude, we might be able to get Screw It in on the podcast because like he's been all about book club and getting involved in different ways.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, okay,
It'd be
we
nice to
gotta
have
we
him
gotta
in
bring it
there.
back to topic. We gotta bring it back to topic.
Yeah.
I just
And
We
wanted to
gotta get out
ask.
of here because I do have to go to the bathroom.
I've gone to the bathroom twice during this podcast.
He's mobile. I'm not. I've been sitting here trying
Well,
not to drink
heading
too
it,
much.
All
man.
right, let's take a break. Go to the bathroom, you two. Go to the bathroom.
No, I gotta go.
Oh, I'm
But
good
let's
right
finish
now.
up. Let's finish up.
All right, fine.
Yeah, because we've been
All right,
going on for
so-
almost an hour and a half.
Living Saints.
Yeah.
Leader of Damned. What would you call two of them
Smash or
to get
pass?
better? No, not Smash or Pass. So if you were gonna give them a new title other than Imperial Demon's not gonna work, what would you call that?
Mm, I like Archons of Humanity.
Eh,
All right,
I'm optimistic.
I'm gonna look up a synonym for angel.
Okay. Oh, Seraphim. Well, that's already sisters.
Yep.
So, let's see.
I would honestly just do
Source up.
Imperial Spirits. Keep it simple.
What would you call them?
Imperial Spirits.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
I'm on
Vengeful
board with
Spirits.
Ooh, I like Vengeful Spirits. Yeah. And what if you did like and I'm sorry, Empyreal, like so Empyreal, Imperial Spirits?
Don't get
'Cause
it.
then phonetically it would sound like Imperial, but the Imperium is one of the more obscure names for the warp.
We still don't know if they have their own warp area. We know Celestine does.
Right.
But that is
Right.
completely separate dimension from any other living saint.
Eh,
Well, it makes sense that they would have kind of like their little pocket places.
So I just looked up.
Empyrean literally
Let's look-
means relating to heaven or the sky.
That could work.
So
But
the antonym of demon
Uh-huh.
is literally angel.
yep.
yes,
So there, a good name that you could call them is archangels.
Yeah.
could work. But
Yep.
I don't think they know the concept of angels.
Oh, they do.
No, they do because they constantly call Astartes Emperor's
The
angels.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Emperor's angels. Yeah.
But then they're living.
Right.
Living angels.
Okay,
Yeah,
living
living
angels, yeah.
angels.
Or yeah, angels of humanity, something like that. Something that differentiates them from the emperor's angels.
Imperial angels. I like it.
Yeah,
Imperial
that's a
angels.
good one actually. Imperial angels.
Well, I didn't say it. I think Geronimo said it first.
Yeah.
I said Imperial Spirit, but yeah. Vengeful
Yeah,
Spirit.
Imperial angels. That's actually sounds a lot better. I'm gonna start referring to them as that until
Someone gets
that
mad.
catches on.
We might want to do
okay, you're just
living
bringing it
angels.
back.
Imperial living angels.
This was fun. I enjoy these.
Of course it was.
I
We
do
got to do
too.
this
I
again
missed
soon,
it.
guys. I missed you.
Lol. I have no idea
Well-
how I'm gonna do artwork on this one.
I miss you guys in a totally non-HR related way.
Well, my question is, how do you guys feel about bringing in a fifth member or bringing in a special guest?
I'm fine with it.
Double
We just
kinky.
gotta see a way to work about it and get art for them.
Yep. I would not
What-
mind having another
What if we
host
just-
because then we can have a lot more discourse. Because how much does Screw It actually know about?
Dude, screw it's very well read.
So
Yeah.
it'd be really good to be able to bounce things off more or another individual that knows just as much or if not more than all of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
and screw it's extremely well articulated. He went to one of the best. Good episode, Spy. This was fun.
This is a hoot.
Yeah, I agree. It was good talking about the Legion of the Damned and Imperial.
Angels.
Well, Angels now. or saints to the ones that are not in the know any right now, but hopefully Imperial Angels will hit the mainstream. So
We'll
we
see.
can copyright that one.
Yeah, we maybe.
They ain't gonna pay us.
No, they're not, but we can say we were the first.
Perfect.
I don't.
So
I seriously think we are, because who else has done it?
I don't think anybody else has done it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Alpha Rejects podcast, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks again, everyone,
Yeah.
for watching.
Abrupt ending.